that turns off the ability of eyes to produce the brown pigment, and occurred once in the early European population. And all people with blue eyes have a common ancestor of that section of chromosome 9 or 12. I knew that, and all of a sudden I forgot it. One of your chromosomes at one piece, you all go back to one person. Isn't that cool? Whew. If Eve is not a clone of Adam, we have a cap on the amount of genetic diversity that God could have put into creation. And that cap is 4 possible readings at any point. So if you're reading down a chromosome and you come to the gene for blood type, you can have 4 alleles maximum. Turns out we have 3, A, B, and O. So Adam could be AO and Eve could have been BO. But most people how many people in here have type O blood? Most of you have a mutation. Most of you have the type A allele. Oh, sorry. I use the word allele. I'll try not to use that word. When we talk about a gene, there is a gene for eye color. There's not a blue-eyed gene and a brown-eyed gene. There's the blue-eyed allele for the eye color gene and the brown-eyed allele for the eye color gene. An allele is a variation. Sorry, I was trying not to use that word. Okay, an allele is a variation. So, I was talking about blood types. There are 3 alleles of blood type gene, A, B, and O. Most people with O have a broken copy of A. Most of you. Now, there is an original O at a lower frequency, so it looks like God created 3 original alleles, indicating that maybe Eve was not a clone. Oh, interesting. Now, 4 possibilities. The evolutionary model. They have humanity evolving from a monkey-like sort of chimpanzee, half-chimpanzee thing 3 to 6 million years ago in Africa. And maybe 1 million years ago, Homo erectus appears on the scene. And Homo erectus lives in Africa for a very long time. A few 100,000 years ago, we go through this giant bottleneck event where only 10,000 people survived. All the rest of the people in the world they died. Only 10,000 people are alive, and modern man came out of that bottleneck event. How much genetic information can you harbor in 10,000 people? A whole lot. How much can you harbor in 2 people? Hardly any. You see the difference? All right. So from everything we know about genetic theory and about genetic data and all the information we've collected, does it indicate 10,000 people or 2 people? And why would I even bring it up? Why would I even give this talk if I thought the answer was going to contradict what I was hoping it was going to be? People around the world are very, very, very similar. Most genes that have a variation, there are a lot of genes where every single person in the world has the exact same thing. Exactly the same thing. No mutations. Exactly the same. Those are genes that God created identical in Adam and Eve. There are other genes that have some variation. The blood type genes. The eye color genes. Even though blue eyes looks like a recent mutation. So there are some genes that are spread out amongst all the world population. Most of them have 2 alleles. Some of them, like the ABO blood groups, have 3. A vanishingly small amount have 4 or 5 or 6 different alleles for any one gene. Almost always, the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th are located in only one spot in the world. They're a mutation that occurred after Babel. Oh, that's exciting. There is no obvious disproof of that main prediction in Genesis found in modern genetics. You'd never know that reading National Geographic, but there's no obvious disproof. Now, okay, look, you cannot prove the Bible, right? We take the Bible by faith, right? You can't prove the existence of God. It's got to be a faith proposition. I don't believe for a second that you can prove the Bible using science, especially man's science. However, the opposite is not true. Or let's say it this way. In genetics, what we find time and time again is correlation, is a strengthening argument, is an argument that says, well, look, the Bible's not untrue, or this doesn't say the Bible's false. That's what we find all over the place. But I'm not saying here that you can prove it, because I don't believe that's true. Okay, event number 2, the flood. Genesis 7:7 says, so Noah with his sons, his wife, and his sons' wives went into the ark because of the waters of the flood. How many people? Genesis 9, after the flood is over. Now the sons of Noah who went out of the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. These 3 were the sons of Noah, and from these the whole earth was populated. Profound genetic statement. How many couples were the founding couples for the entire world's population today? 3 couples. Not Noah and his wife. Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and their 3 wives. Ooh, does that put a limit on the amount of genetic diversity we might see today? Yeah, and what it does is this mutation before the flood, it wiped out most of it. We can't see it. Okay, I have to introduce one more piece of DNA. I've showed you this 3 times now, but I have to show you this little piece right here. Inside of every single one of your cells are these little teeny subcellular compartments called mitochondria. Now, for some of you, high school biology might have been a long time ago. Sorry. Mitochondria, the powerhouses of the cell. What they do is they convert sugar into energy.